What's going on, everybody? I am Ink Life Jizzle, or Birdie if you prefer, or Mr. Birdie if you're nasty, and I'm here to assist you in defeating depression. Go check out my merch at redbubble.com to shop for my Mind Over Matter t-shirts and much, much more. Without further ado, let's get it. So, when you're trying to address your mental health issues and get rid of your depression, sometimes you got to start from the ground up. Sometimes you won't know you need help until you hit rock bottom. And if this occurs, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, it's always a bright side. It's always a negative way to look at something. It's always a positive way to look at something. You want to take out the positives from hitting rock bottom. The only way to go is up. You know, you can see what you need to do. You can see where you need to go, in a sense. So when that happens, it's time to go within. You have to address the mind, body, and soul of yourself. And what I mean by that is, you gotta basically rebuild yourself. So starting with the mind, you have to get your thinking in order. You have to get your mind in check. 'Cause when you have depression, you're gonna have negative thoughts flowing through your mind all day, every day, just nonstop. You're gonna be beating yourself up mentally. You're gonna look at everything in a negative light. Everything is bad. Everybody is out to get you. When you step outside, you only see the worst of humanity. And whenever you're looking for something, you usually find it. Especially if your subconscious mind is out of whack. You have to learn how to forgive yourself. You have to learn how to be alone with yourself. You have to learn how to love yourself. You can't go searching for that in other people. Like, regardless of how shitty your life has been, you know, what you've been through does not define you. And you have to dig deep, deep, deep inside you to address the issues that you have going on. And one of the ways to address those issues is taking accountability. It's very easy to see, it's very easy to think about your past that was fucked up, or a current fucked up situation, and blame it on this person, blame it on that person. You can say your mom didn't love you enough. You can say your dad wasn't there. You can say your coworkers are always out to get you. You can, blame it on the police, your job, the city you grew up in, the people you grew up around, the schools that you went to, your baby dad, your baby mom. You can blame it on a million different things. But it's very, very hard to, it's very, very hard for people to take accountability sometimes. Like, what did you do to attribute to the situation? Never mind what the next person did. Never mind the circumstances that this situation brought to you. But what did you do to bring this upon yourself? Because usually your thoughts are aligned with the physical reality. Everything that you get is what you ask for, in a sense. Just for example, if you have a niggas ain't shit mentality, every dude that you've been with wasn't shit. Let's say your last 3 boyfriends wasn't shit. They just used you, took advantage of you in this way, in that way, So you got this niggas ain't shit mentality. Who picked those guys that ain't shit? What kind of energy are you putting off to attract these ain't shit niggas? How are you carrying yourself? How are you speaking? Where are you hanging out at? Or, yeah, where are you hanging out at to attract these folks? Like, that's what I mean by taking accountability. Like, you gotta really sit yourself down. And I'm not talking about blaming yourself, but you gotta really sit yourself down and figure out what you did to cause some of these things to happen. Um, if you if you have the mindset where it's like you're like something fucked up always happens. If you say that to yourself every time you see something fucked up, guess what's going to constantly happen? Something fucked up. Guess what you're going to constantly see? Something fucked up. Like, even something so small like that is attributing to some of the things that you're going through, and that's where you have to take accountability. You have to change your mindset. Like, whatever you're constantly thinking and constantly dwelling on, whether you're doing it on purpose or not, that's what you're going to get into your life. And that's the first step of taking accountability. Like, if you're going into a situation where you're meeting somebody or you're going to work and you're just like, oh, I know this person's gonna say something to me today. I know this person is gonna act a fool at work. I just know it. I just know it. I just know it. Guess what? You're gonna get your wish. That's a part of taking accountability. The energy that you put off in general. Uh, if you walk around with a bad attitude and here, I'll do you one better. If you have, I know a lot of people that have cars break down on them, and they look at cars a certain way. So if you have a car, you riding in it for 6 months, whatever, it breaks down on you. You can be like, damn, the owner scammed me. The owner said it was good, and now all of a sudden it's breaking down already. I spent all this money and the car is breaking down. So 6, 7, 8, 9, fuck it, 12 months go by. You get another car. You riding, everything good. Car breaks down again. Same problems. Damn, man, this owner left me hanging too. I knew I shouldn't have bought this car off this FB website, FB Marketplace website. I knew I shouldn't have got this car from this person's cousin or whatever. They left me fucking hanging. Buy a third car, same things happen. Buy a fourth car, same things happen. At some point, you got to stop and take a look at. You got to stop and take a step back and look at the situation. Like, maybe it's not the owners that's causing these cars to fuck up the previous owners. Maybe it's not the fact that these cars are 5 or 10 years old. Maybe I'm not doing something right. Maybe I'm not taking care of these cars right. Maybe I'm not maintaining these cars the proper way, even though I thought I was maintaining the proper way. Like, you just can't blame everybody and everything for your problems all the time. You just can't. You'll never grow that way. You need to stop and take a step back and figure out what you're doing to attribute to these bad things happening. And that's with anything bad, anything negative happening in your life. Like, you need to take a step back and find out what you're doing to causes and take some accountability. So the first step when addressing the mind, body, and soul aspect of defeating depression is just being alone and taking a long, hard look at yourself. Taking a look at your life, just analyzing your life, not overthinking too much, but just looking back at it. And meditation helps too. You sit down in a quiet place by yourself, close your eyes, do some deep breathing for about 15 minutes. Just look at certain negative situations in your life, but take a step outside of yourself and look at it, with no feeling or emotion. Look at it as if it's somebody else, peeking in, like not necessarily look at it through somebody else's shoes, but look at it as if it wasn't you. Like, what if it had to do with two other people? Like, what would you see? What would you notice? That's a good way to take the emotion out of it and just take it for what it is. And mind you, you can do this for any situation. Don't be so stubborn and be like, well, this person did this horrible thing to me, or my job or my coworkers always act like this, so there's no way it's my fault. You got to get over yourself. You got to put your ego to the side and take accountability for your life, because that's what it is. At the end of the day, it's your life. You can't blame people for your for your misfortunes, just like you can't search for other people to make you happy. You make you happy and you make you miserable. It's all on you. Nobody else can put a gun to your head and tell you to smile and be happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a choice at the end of the day. It's always, always, always a fucking choice. Always. If you want to argue and be like, no, I didn't have no, fuck that. It's a choice. So take some accountability, take a step outside of yourself and look at the situation as if it didn't have to do with you. Take all the emotion out of it and just look at it for what it is. Don't be biased. Don't be this and be that. Just look at it, and then look at yourself, and you can take a step back and see, it's like, okay, I'm the one that's putting myself in these situations because I didn't have to go over here, or I didn't have to say yes to this obligation that I didn't want to say yes to. I put myself in these situations. Be like, well, I said yes because I didn't want to hurt somebody's feelings. No, fuck that. You said yes. You made a choice to say yes to driving across country when you had work the next day, and then wonder why you got fired and you want to blame somebody else. Like, I know that sounds extreme, but still, people do dumb shit and blame other people for their choices all the time. All the time. Take some accountability. Addressing the physical aspect of it. Well, let me say one more thing about getting your mind right. So once you learn how to take accountability, you look at these unfortunate situations in your life, and you figure out where you can take accountability in that. Oh yeah, and don't be a bitch in the sense where you're trying to take accountability, but then it's always a but at the end of it. Yeah, I can see what I did wrong in this situation, but they did this, that, and the third, or they said this, that, and the third, or they don't do that. That's not taking accountability. That's deflection. Okay? No buts in it. No, but this person showed up. No, but this person asked, and all this bullshit. Especially, just don't. No deflections. Like, you need to take on full accountability, because that's the only way you're going to grow from it. Point blank, period. You got to take the buts out of it. You got to take well, if she didn't do this, then I wouldn't have did that. Or if he wouldn't have said this, and I wouldn't have said that. No, you got to take that shit out of it. If this politician wouldn't have signed this bill, then this wouldn't happen. You got to take all of that shit out of the equation. Take the what ifs, the buts, all that shit. Take accountability and shut the fuck up. That's it. Man up or woman up if you got boobs, whatever. Take accountability for your actions, for your choices, for your decisions. Because quite frankly, if you can't stand by your decisions and accept the consequences, whether those consequences are good or bad, you don't need to make those fucking decisions. You just need to mosey on up the road and find something to do. You need to be strong, be firm, take accountability for your actions, and stand by and accept the consequences that come. Period. Every time. Like I said, you gotta basically reprogram your mind, and that's exactly what it is. You'll get to a point where you feel your brain shifting, you noticing the outside world is looking a little different, you really have to make a conscious effort to reprogram your mind. How do you do that? Well, like I said, meditation is one key. You sit down, close your eyes, quiet space, and then you repeat stuff to yourself like happiness, peace, love, harmony, prosperity, love. I probably already said love already, but just words like that. And the purpose of it is to essentially plant seeds. So you're repeating these positive things to yourself, and it's going to slowly start to push out the negative thoughts that you usually have going through your head. You know, you might have negative thoughts going through your head. You might look at everything as a worst case scenario before you do something, or before you try something new or whatever. Before you interact with somebody, you might just automatically go to worst case scenario. And then you can be like, well, I do that because this is what this person has done all the time. You know, they always done worst case scenario shit. Yeah. Like I said, take some accountability. If you're thinking about it, if you're assuming they're going to do some worst case scenario shit, guess what? You're probably going to be right. You're going to be right. And you don't have to be right all the time. You know, like if you go to see somebody or do something and it usually turns out bad, and you prepping for it, right? You prepping for the bad shit to happen, but something really, really good happens. Aren't you glad you were wrong in that instance? That's what I mean. You don't have to always be fucking right just because it was like that last time. Whatever. Change your mindset. Change your thinking. If you don't want to take my advice, then it's fine. You can stay in your depression, but try it out. The worst that can happen is that you're wrong and shit gets way better. It's the worst thing that can happen. When you sit down and meditate and start to say these positive things over and over and over again, day by day, it's not going to happen overnight. It's a process. You have to do it consistently over a period of time. You have to build up a body of work of constantly speaking these positive affirmations. Another thing you can do is listen to some motivational videos or motivational speakers. Les Brown is a good one. He has an amazing app where you can hear him talk, and you know, he paints a picture of these situations and circumstances that you might go through. And it's funny because when you go through things, you feel like you're the only one, but we all have that hardship in common. All of us people, from this country to that country to all around the world, you know, it's so common with the stuff that we go through and the emotions we feel. So, you know, it helps when you don't feel alone, you know. It helps when you seek out help one way or another. Like you sitting and listening to this video is a form of seeking out help, and it's good. You can, but yeah, like I said, you can listen to a lot of positive motivational videos for this and that and the third. But another thing to do is, you know, listen to it. You can listen to it all day. That's fine, any time of the day. But it really, really helps if you listen to it right before you go to bed, because the subconscious mind is susceptible to, is very impressionable. You can listen to things prior to sleep, and it just sticks in your brain, like I said, over a period of time. It might be a short period of time. You know, it might be a long period of time, just depending on how consistent you are. But when you do that, it sticks with you. And then that's when your world really starts to change, and you start to see it different. You start to feel different. You're not looking at everything as worst case scenario. You feel lighter. You know, the people that you run into interact with you different. You know, it's a beautiful thing to see once you finally implement it and go through it and put it into motion. And I know it might sound stupid, it might sound silly, it might sound stupid, it might sound silly, but it's really that simple though. It is. It's really that simple. You know, just listen to it, like turn off the CSI before you go to bed. You know, don't gossip on the phone or whatever with this person or that person talking about all the fucked up shit that Becky did at work, or you know, the fuck shit that the president's doing or whatever. You know, turn everything off, get some headphones, listen to some positive affirmations or some motivational speaking, and then let those seeds give those seeds a chance to grow in your subconscious mind. And it's really that simple. You know, you have to be consistent with it though. Yeah, and then you can't one more thing, you can't just go in and say oh, I am happy, I am blessed, I am relaxed, and then 5 minutes later say, everything's fucked up, it's always fucked up, this and that. Like, that's counterproductive. Like, you're not gonna get any results doing that, because you're basically, this is the best way I can describe it, you're basically planting the seeds of positivity and then you're digging them right back up and just throwing them to the side. That's essentially what you're doing. Because when you plant a seed, like if you plant a fucking apple seed, you know it's going to sprout a fucking apple tree. It doesn't do it the next day. It doesn't do it the next week. But you know those seeds are growing. You know those seeds are under the dirt doing what seeds do. Now, granted, the ground has to be a certain way. You know, like I said, you have to condition your mind. You have to say these positive things to yourself over and over and over again prior to sleep. Meditate once, twice a day. 3 times would be amazing, but if you can do it at least once a day, that would make all the difference. You know, you have to water those seeds, and that's what a meditation is. You know, like the listening to some positive affirmations or repeating some positive affirmations to yourself prior to sleep. It's the same as conditioning the ground, making sure the ground is good enough to grow something, first of all, because you're not finna just grow an apple tree in the desert. You gotta condition the ground first of all. That's the affirmations, and then the meditation part and the affirmations that go with that. That's the watering aspect of it, the watering the seeds. You know, because you're not gonna get anywhere if you don't take care of it, and it has to be a day in by day out process. And like I said, get a calendar, get a sheet, mark your days off. Do what you got to do to be consistent at it. Your friends laugh at you. You doing this silly shit. So what? Keep doing it anyway. You know, that's it. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. I hope you found this video helpful, and at the very least, you're now equipped with yet another tool to battle depression. The God in me sees the God and Goddess in you. And remember, all the blessings in life are yours.